Are you tired of not being able to drift in GTA 5? Do you want to turn your Japanese shitbox into a drifting powerhouse in a matter of minutes? Maybe you're just here to take the streets by storm with style. Now, if you want to do all of this and more, make sure to stick around, because this is going to be the ultimate guide to drifting in GTA 5 Online. Well, hello everyone and welcome back to another GTA Online guide. So I got some more car content for you guys, and this was highly requested, so I thought I'd bring it out for you lot. And this is going to be a sort of guide, an all-in-one, all in-depth video talking about drifting, which should have a little bit of everything in it, from how to tune your car up right, how to get those drifts going for beginners, how to do some more advanced techniques to the more intermediate and expert level people. So there's a little bit for everybody. Now, I'm not saying I'm the best at drifting by any means, but I like to think I'm pretty decent, so hopefully there's something in here that you will find useful. If you do enjoy today's video, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe, but let's get into it. Now, before we get drifting, you're going to need a car. If you're a beginner, I'd highly recommend you get something like the Kirin Futo or the Yuga. They're very slow, they're more on the slower side, but it's way easier to get the sort of basics of drifting down with the method I'm going to show you in a tiny bit. If not, that's not your style, I have a guide in the top right and in the description for more drift cars that you can go ahead and use. Now, before we do anything, you're going to need to tune up your car. If you don't do it right, you're not going to be drifting anywhere. Now, this is going to be just kind of a general guide. This isn't going to be too in-depth. I have made a couple drift builds for specific cars on the channel before, so I'll link that in the top right. But if you want an all in-depth guide on everything there is to know about tuning your car for drifting, Stevie Wonder Kid has a great video on it. I'll leave it in the description down below. Now, visually, your car can be whatever you like, okay? Pretty much go as crazy as you like with it, really doesn't matter. Armor-wise, doesn't really matter, but it will make the car harder to stance. Brakes, you want to keep them stock. Engine, max it. You want to go ahead and make the turbo maxed out. You want to go ahead and make sure you do not put a spoiler on. Okay, do not put a spoiler on there because it will add traction to the car. Even if there's an option to delete the spoiler, just keep whatever the stock option is, okay? Transmission, you want to keep it stock if you're in a slower vehicle such as this. If you're more accustomed to high speed drifting or you're in a high powered car, keep it at the higher level. Suspension, it's down to personal preference. If you're a beginner, maybe keep it something a little higher, but you know, it's really, the lower it is, the less grippy the car will tend to be. But probably the most important thing, do not buy bulletproof tires, okay? That is probably the most important thing about any of your tunes. Do not buy bulletproof tires or you will not be able to do a little trick I will show you in a minute. Wheel choice does not matter, okay? A lot of people will argue and say that muscle rims are the best or SUV rims are the best, but once you stand to your car and you do the trick I'm going to show you in a minute, the handling model is so drastically changed that it essentially negates any bonuses or, you know, debuffs that the rims actually give you. So from anything besides off-road rims, if you want to use it for drifting, you're golden. So hopefully that does help. Now you've got your car tuned up, but now we're going to get on to the next most important step to getting your car perfect for drifting, and that would be stancing. Now, stancing your car is incredibly important as it basically massively reduces the amount of grip that your car has on the road. To do it, all you want to do is, for most vehicles, you're going to shoot the center of the rim or the fender with an assault rifle or a sniper rifle until you see the body drop down 2 times. This mechanic does not work with bulletproof tires equipped, so it is essential you do not purchase them on your car. Okay, awesome. You now have your first drift car and now you have it tuned the perfect way. What I want you to do now, the starter beginner drift technique, is going to be a little underwhelming maybe. It's not too crazy, but it will give you the basic skills you need to thrive later on. So what you want to do is kind of do something I'm doing here. If you don't understand, you want to go ahead and put your throttle down, try and keep the car in first gear, you know, listen for it, try not to make it shift up. And what you're going to do is you're going to kind of tap your handbrake every couple of seconds, and you're going to see that your car wheel spins and leaves those black tire marks on the floor. So that'll be how you know you're doing it right. So what you want to do is just go ahead, find something maybe like a parking lot, and you're going to just go ahead, put some throttle on, keep tapping the handbrake every couple of seconds, and try and turn the car, you know, move your stick left and right a little bit to control where it's going, and you're going to see your car lose control, start sliding a little bit. So what I want you to do is try and practice with the slower method, and you're going to go ahead and just go around something small, like a little circuit, kind of like this at the top of this parking garage, okay? You're just going to go around it, and you're going to try and keep the car lower gear, which is why the stock transmission is so important, because on slower cars like the Futo and Yuga, which is what you want to be using at start, benefits so much from this, because the transmission makes the gearing up much slower. So once you've kind of got that method down, you kind of understand how to do it, I want you to go ahead and find something like a lamppost or a little object that you can go around. It can be whatever you want, maybe a parked car, and I want you to try and counter steer around it. So you're going to do that method and initiate the drift, but what you're going to do is you're going to move your wheel left and right around that object to kind of go in a loop around it without hitting it. So if you turn further in towards it, it's going to make you closer to that object, and if you pull out, it's going to take you further away. And you want to kind of move your left stick, in my case if you're playing on controller, left right left right left right, you know, and kind of balance it so you kind of stay close to it but do not hit it. It's all about that perfect limbo. It does take a little practice, but it is an immense skill you have to have. Now once you've got that down, try against, you know, around multiple objects. So I'm going to do a little slalom here. So as I kind of explained, I'm going to pull in, it's going to make me closer to the object I'm going around. So try and maybe get as close as possible, but don't hit it. So if as this corner, I'm going to turn the wheel more left, it's going to bring me closer to the object. I go more right, it's going to take me further away from the little pole. So you're just going to go around it, wiggle your wheel left right left right left right, and then you're going to try and go around it. Now this counter steering motion is going to be so crucial to learn, because we will utilize this later on. Once you got this down, you're going to be on your way to becoming a drift guard. Now before we move on to the more higher end level of drifting, I'm going to give you a few little pointers here and there to help you. So first of all, practice is perfect. You've probably heard this loads of, you know, it's interchangeable with all kinds of aspects of life. This is not something you will learn instantly. This takes work, this does take effort, and it will be frustrating, it will be difficult the first few times you try it, but the more and more you learn, the better and better you will do. So if you get those aspects down, the counter steering, using your handbrake well, you know, this sort of thing, it is absolutely essential to get it down, and once you are confident with it, we can move on forward. You know, it's kind of like how Mr. Miyagi in the Karate Kid, you know, the wax on wax off kind of thing. I really doubt that you might get the reference, I don't know, it's an old movie, but if you kind of get what I mean with that, you're using the little skills here, you're building them up, and then you can use that for something, you know, later on. You use that and then you adapt on it. So if you get these skills out of the way now, then it will help massively when you try and drift those higher powered cars. Because most people I see on YouTube do drift guides, they start and, you know, they want to throw you into the the hardest vehicle straight away, like the Banshee, and because people haven't experimented with slower vehicles, they don't know how to do these simple techniques like counter steering very well, and when they try and do it in something that powerful, they can't handle it and they give up straight away. So hopefully, you know, this will allow you to sort of build upon those skills and improve on them. So little couple things I would highly recommend: if your car does not have bulletproof tires, if your car has bulletproof tires, sell it, get another one without. I know it's going to be a huge investment, but if this is something you seriously want to go ahead and get better at, it is highly worth it. The stancing of your car is so incredibly important to losing that grip. If you don't do it, 99% of the time it's going to be so much harder to, you know, go ahead and initiate those drifts, because you have way more grip. That's kind of why the tire choice doesn't really matter too much. You know, if you go ahead and pick muscle wheel street rims, it really doesn't matter that much, because the handling model is so drastically affected by this, you know, the stancing trick, that at that point, you know, it's a completely different ball game. But hopefully this does help out. If any of you do have any specific questions, you know, go drop them down below. Maybe I can help some of you out. We do have a Discord server, by the way. We do car meets, all of that all the time. Drop them down below. But yeah, hopefully this does help somewhat. That is going to be the end of the beginner section. Let's move on to more intermediate and higher level drifting. Now, once you want to get to that next level of drifting, you're going to want a more powerful vehicle. In this case, I'm going to be using the Banshee 900R, and I highly recommend you use this as your next step to learning how to drift. Now, I am kind of contradicting what I said earlier, but I feel like once you've learned those initial techniques and you're somewhat decent at them, if you learn how to do the Banshee, which will be a grind, don't get me wrong, you'll pretty much be able to drift anything in between those 2 points. So I'd highly recommend you start here. But if not, as I said, I've got a list of other vehicles that are perfect for drifting as well. Now, before we even do anything from this point, with these higher powered vehicles, there is one skill you must know to thrive with them, and it is the mid-drive speed boost / double clutching / clutch dumping, whatever you want to call it. It is a skill you must know. So to do it, you kind of want to start off just like this. You're going to wait for the car to hit second gear, listen for it, let off your gas, tap the handbrake, tap the gas again. What you'll see is your car sort of wheel spinning and then give you a little boost of acceleration. Now, I'm not going to go too in depth on this. If you don't know how to do this and you want to learn, I will leave a card in the top right and in the description of a dedicated video explaining this in depth. I really do not want to make the video really long, so I'm not going to really want to repeat myself too much. I'm sorry I'm leaving all these links to other videos, but you know, I don't see the point in repeating myself if I've explained them elsewhere. Now, once you know how to double clutch, you know how to counter steer, all of those earlier steps that we have now taught you, now you should be able to go and complete a full circle around something like this. So just find yourself a nice object you can go around, preferably circular. There's tons of little spots like this on the map. Even just do a donut in the middle of an airport if you want. And what you want to do is you want to initiate that drift, and you're going to start off maybe with a little double clutch to give yourself some speed, and then you're going to use your throttle to kind of balance how much speed you're getting on there. Use your left stick, wiggle it left and right, same counter steer motion that we taught you before, and you're going to try and go as close to the object as you can without hitting it. But instead of it being a very small little object like a lamppost, these wider objects here, so if you're doing like a really big donut essentially around an object, you'll be able to do a full circle. It will prepare you for street drifting. So what you can do then is you can start taking corners like a portion of that circle. So instead of doing the full circle, let's say this corner here, we're going to take it at about a quarter of that circle, and then we can drift around it seamlessly. Then we take it and we apply it. So if you need some extra practice for this, I would highly recommend you maybe go around to the airport. As I said, there's tons of space here. You can go ahead and you don't even need anything to go around. Just try and make a really big donut and follow along your own lines. So again, using that counter steering to keep your car stable. You know, too far inwards, we're gonna go ahead and oversteer. Too far out, we're gonna understeer and exit the drift. So it's just getting that nice balance. And it is much trickier with this higher powered vehicle that we're using, but if you manage to handle this, you know, you got to use a little bit of the throttle, tiny bit of the brake, the handbrake if you need that extra speed from the double clutch, you know, putting it all together, and then you're going to get some seamless drifts in there. So you know, you want to practice around some little obstacles if you want, like these. I mean, I'm not perfect, but you know, I'm still getting around them all right. So there's tons of little stuff you can just go around here. I'd recommend you try and follow along some of the lines. Maybe you just go in between some of the obstacles you find yourself find around here, and then once you are pretty confident in doing that, you know, maybe follow along some lines. So what I'm going to do, again with that quarter circle kind of action, we're going to extend it out. We're going to follow that one, and then we're going to link that into a second drift. So I kind of lost it there, I was too hard on the throttle. So you're going to have to feather the throttle a little bit, you know, don't always press all the way down, but you can kind of link your drifts together, so, or go for really long drifts at high speed. So this allows you to make those drifts look absolutely seamless and really nice looking. So see how long I managed to get that one there? So again, that same premise is like when we were doing the big circles, the big donuts. You just want to use your counter steering to kind of keep the car in control, and then it's all about that perfect balance. It's really up to the person because everyone handles the car differently. It is, you know, it is a skill. It takes a while to learn, but you know, it's a mix between the handbrake, the brake, and your throttle. You know, the brake you don't use too much. Handbrake usually just for the double clutch motion to give yourself extra speed, and then feathering the gas on off on off. So every time you see that the little flicker of the flame, that's me tapping back on the gas, you know, to give it a bit more kick. So once we're good with all of that, let's practice it on the streets. So right here, you're gonna see me go ahead and use those exact same techniques, but around like a street area, so you can see how tight we're getting it around all of these little obstacles. Still going at a pretty decent speed as well, you know. This is levels above that handbrake drifting we were doing earlier. You know, it is very, very difficult to do well, and it will take time to master, but once you get it, you can start pulling off some insane looking drifts. And I am by no means the best at drifting in this game at all, but I like to think I'm pretty competent. Tons of people better than me, but doing this will definitely help you out. It worked for me, and now I'm pretty decent at drifting. Now from this point, hopefully you're a bit more confident with how to drift in this game, and from this point, if you want to get better, you want to improve, it's all about that practice. I know I keep preaching it, but practice literally does make perfect, okay? The more time and effort you do put into this, it is a skill like anything else. It will slowly over time gradually improve, and you'll find yourself very, very proud of yourself once you have achieved, you know, that higher level, you know, like from whatever point you are at now. If you put a little bit more work into it, you know, you do a bit of drifting, you practice a bit, you know, you will definitely improve over time. And I highly recommend that you go ahead and do this with friends. You know, if you got other people who are into cars, they do car meets, whatever, you know, do this with them, drift with them, do some little tandems, whatever, you know, do everything together, and it will make it so much more enjoyable. I mean, I have a Discord server, right? It's in the description if you'd like to join, full of car people. There's definitely some faces in there who'd probably enjoy drifting with you, and you know, go check it out. You might enjoy it. But if you go find some people, go ahead and drift, go ahead, have some fun. But besides that, hopefully this video was helpful to you, and I really do hope that you do enjoy this style of content, because I enjoy making it. Now if you did like a little touch of a few more of the edited kind of things I threw in there, you know, let me know. I can maybe do some more in my future videos. Now in terms of more GTA drifting kind of content, if you do like to see this kind of thing, do let me know by leaving a like on the video and subscribing if you want to see more in the future. If you'd like to see something, I don't know, like a Banshee 900R, like a dedicated video about drifting and tuning it properly, like a tune or whatever, let me know. Anything you like, suggest it down below and it can happen. But all of that out of the way, go check out all my socials, they're in the description. Drop a like on the video and subscribe if you enjoyed. Thank you all for watching. I hope this was helpful, and have a wonderful night. See you guys in the next one.